Okay. So I'm here with my friend and client, Charles, and we're going to have a little discussion today about health, wellness, aging, and all of that good stuff. And he's going to share some perspectives that he's gathered along the way um, throughout his life on those topics. So, hi, Charles.
Hi, Kate. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well as always. So we'll just start with, could you share with us a little bit about your health and wellness journey, as much or as little as you want to share with us?
Sure. At various times in my life, I have, tried to do exercise programs. Back when I was in my mid 30s, I spent a couple of years taking dance classes, and which was a lot of fun. And also, that's a great way to kind of get in touch with your body. But work became more intense, and so at various times for the last 40 years, with the best of intentions, I tried to find time to be more active, but I'm kind of a workaholic. It's kind of the way I went. So, I would have good intentions, and I'd do it for a little while, and then I kind of fall by the wayside as other things came in my life. And then 15 years ago, my wife passed away, and I was 60 when that happened, and I was working for the province of British Columbia, and it was a very high stress job. I was on call 24/7, and it's just short of 3 years later, I basically had a breakdown,
Hmm.
just a mental breakdown, and I went on stress leave, and after 6 months, I had to make a decision about what to do. And I was talking to my doctor, and he said, "Can you afford to retire?" And I said, "Well, I mean giving up a little bit, a few $100s a month." He says, "How much is that worth for you?" And I said, yeah, I gotcha. So I decided to retire. And so I was, every day I walked past this gym that was a couple of blocks away from me, and I kept looking in the window and think, I don't know if that's really for me. But I was feeling old and overweight and just generally logy and low energy, and thought I knew that if I did something, I'd be a lot happier. And so I finally one day I walked in, and everybody was so nice, and they set me up and took my money, and I started to work with a trainer, and it was because I'm a guy. Results happened a lot faster. I lost weight faster. That's an advantage. That's one of the few advantages of being a male, is that you can get your metabolism up faster than women often can when it comes to losing weight, especially. So I got immediate feedback, and I started feeling better, and I have been doing that ever since.
And so you mentioned a few experiences already in that journey up until that point that influenced your well-being. Can you, if we circle back, can you talk a little bit about, it's hard because it's in the past, but do you remember how you felt like in your body at that time before you decided to join that gym?
Well, I think what had happened was that even when I was trying to do more, I used to walk to work, for example, which was good, but I wasn't doing it regularly enough, and I wasn't doing it with enough intensity. And so I don't think I ever really felt a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah. So
What-
maybe looking for additional challenge
Yeah,
overall. Yeah.
yeah, it just felt like I needed. I didn't make it a priority. It was just, I just felt, yeah, it was not a priority, and so I would do it intermittently, hit and miss, and I never felt a sense of improvement. And,
Hmm.
and what happened when I started to do it regularly
Hmm.
was that I had that. I knew that I was improving. I was losing weight.
Hmm.
I was getting stronger, and I had a lot more energy.
Hmm. And did working with somebody, having more guidance in that realm, help you? Was that something you were looking for?
It was. I didn't know that I was looking for that,
Hmm.
which I think was part of the reason that I was kind of reluctant to go into a gym, because I felt, well, I'm going to be in there and I'm not going to know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm going to look foolish, and that sort of thing was preying on me. But but I started working with the trainer, and yeah, I think that was really important, because I was accountable, and I wasn't doing the same thing over again. I see that a lot in gyms. I see people who, I start to see someone, and when I belong to a gym, I'd see someone that I see regularly, and he'd be doing the same thing over and over again. And I could see myself doing that, because you get comfortable and that. But working with someone meant that I couldn't fall into that trap. I was always given something new to do, and it became a habit.
Yeah. And so that whole kind of culture of, I imagine you did some strength training at the gym. Was that whole culture and idea like prevalent when you were growing up, or was it sort of, it came into the picture later in your life?
That sort of, um, yeah, there weren't a lot of gyms around when I was growing up.
Mhm.
Obviously, when I was in school, we did physical education every day, but it was, one day we'd play basketball, and another day we'd play softball, or it was no, we do calisthenics for 10 or 15 minutes,
Right.
jumping jacks every time.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And
and
so this experience, was it a little bit more intentional and mindful and focused in that you were learning about your body potentially for the first time?
yeah, when I was doing the dancing, when I was in my 30s, I also went to the gym, because I was told that I needed to get a little more strength.
Right.
And that was the time in the mid 80s, when it became a big thing.
Right.
Gyms were a big thing. And I found it a bit off-putting, because it was, there were a lot of people juicing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that disheartening.
Mm-hmm. And so then you started with the trainer, and from there, how long ago was that, and have you been upkeeping with that?
Yeah. So I started with the trainer, it was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done that pretty much continuously. Well, not pretty much continuously. I've done that continuously. You're the third trainer I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I've continued to find it rewarding because I keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people say to me, why do you spend all that money? I mean, you must know all of this stuff by now. You should be able to just do it yourself. And I tell them, well, first of all, I don't think about the money because we just make choices about how we're going to spend money. I mean, I could be going out for $200 meals, but I
Mm-hmm.
choose not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is that I build a relationship with another person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's really important to me because I get feedback. You know, as I get to know you,
Mm-hmm.
I trust your feedback. I think that's a natural thing that we do. We trust. When I was in school, it was the teachers that I could build rapport with, who I learned more from because I
Mm-hmm.
trusted their feedback. And
Yeah.
it's the same with the trainer. And in the three trainers I've had have all three been people that I trusted and enjoyed their company.
Right. And that takes time, right? It doesn't happen in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
No.
So what kinds of people, including maybe these trainers, do you try to surround yourself with on the regular, and why is that important?
One of the things that I noticed when I retired was that most of the people that I was spending time with were people my age.
Mm-hmm.
And I have nothing against people my age, but I felt, that I needed more. I needed people. I needed to be around people who are looking forward and not just people who are looking back. I mean, one of the
Mm-hmm.
things about getting to be my age is that there's a tendency to look backward.
Mm-hmm.
And because we kind of, society tells us that once we're past a certain age, we're kind of redundant. We don't have anything to offer, which is not true. But if I spend all my time with people who are in the same age group, I'm likely to start to believe that because I can see people who believe that. I have just the last few months, I have a couple of friends who are almost exactly my age. One of whom is developing dementia, and the other one is just filled with anger. And I'm convinced it's because they're just not looking forward. They're not doing anything. So I find that most of the people that I spend a lot of time with these days, they're in their 40s and early 50s. So 20 to 30 years younger than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be 30 years younger than I am because I don't want to have to go through all that stuff again. But I do enjoy them because they help me look forward.
Yeah.
They help me recognize, because they expect me to be forward looking.
Right.
If I'm, if they're going to invest their time in me, they don't want someone who sits there in my day.
Yeah,
we did
right.
it this way, and nor should they put up with that. So so that helps me. That helps me a lot to keep moving forward. I've done things, aside from the physical training, I've also taken courses at university, kind of filled some of the gaps from, things I missed out on in my formal education. I've done a lot of that. And I'm, which is great fun. I get to hang out with 20-year-olds. And that's fun too, because I'm learning, I've spent quite a bit of time learning classical Greek. And so I'm hanging out with the smart kids when I do that. And so and that feels good because they actually enjoyed having me
right
around. I never got the sense that they, with one or two exceptions, were patronizing me. Most of them actually seemed to enjoy my company. I mean, they didn't want to hang out with me, but in the classroom and maybe in the library.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things. And I volunteer. I work with people with substance abuse problems. And so, and that's rewarding too. So I have lots to do.
Right.
I have, and it's all useful stuff. It has purpose. My life has purpose. And I have one friend who I dearly love, but she spends an inordinate amount of time on Facebook, reliving things that happened 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I do that, if I'm with family, we do that and we can play around, but I didn't do it on Facebook or anything like that. It's just nice to have. It's nice to have real purpose in my life.
And there's one other thing that you haven't mentioned yet that you've added in recent years to your life that definitely contributes to health and wellness, and it comes in a creative form. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Your guitar lessons.
Oh, of course. How could I forget that? Yes. Yes. 2.5 years ago at Christmas, 2.5 years ago at Christmas, my friend Teresa gave me a bass guitar. And I have been taking bass lessons ever since. And yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Yeah. I started growing my hair long, so I looked like a bassist,
Yeah, starting a band. But prior you hadn't played any instruments before, or?
I hadn't in a long time. Not since my 20s.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been really important because my brain benefits enormously. My brain benefits enormously for doing anything that has purpose, but that the brain body connection when you're playing a musical instrument is really interesting.
Mhm. So how do you navigate? Because, there's got to be frustrations and sort of moments that you're like, why am I doing this? This is challenging. Or, how do you navigate those in, let's say, the exercise world or the music world, or any of the other things that you are doing on the weekly? What helps you navigate those hardships and persevere through?
Yes, that's an interesting question because I don't really quite know how to answer it, but I know what it feels like.
Mhm.
One example of that is when I was actually still taking Greek courses. Um, uh, well, beginning Greek courses. Once a week, every Thursday, we had a vocabulary exam. And I would spend 2 days, hours and hours and hours memorizing this list of vocab. And then I'd go to the class, and we'd be out in the hallway waiting for the class that was in there to come out so we could go in. And some of my classmates would they whip out the list, take a quick glance at it, and they'd have it.
Right.
And so that was really noticeable. But I realized it didn't bother me
Mhm.
that they didn't have to work as hard at it
Mhm.
because we ended up in the same place.
Mhm.
And that's a kind of lesson that I wish I'd learned when I was 15
Yeah.
or 25.
Don't we all? Yeah.
Yeah, but I had to wait till I was well past 65 before that lesson really sank in. But I did. It's the same. It's a thing in the gym. It's. I see guys, 25-year-olds that come in and within a couple of weeks, they've gone from 75 pounds on the barbell to 150 pounds on the barbell. And I can't do that. But it's okay because
Yeah.
I'm still making progress. And I was going to say I'll get to the same place. No, I probably won't get to the same place. But as far as satisfying myself, I will get to the same place.
Totally. And I think those examples summarize it well, where you're in a growth mindset.
Yeah.
You're in a growth mindset and you've adopted that and you made that decision, and now you just practice nurturing that every day.
Yeah. It's what I tell people who say, occasionally someone will say to me, you don't have to acknowledge how old you are because you look a lot younger. I said, I don't want to be younger. I'm perfectly happy to be 75. I just want to be the best 75 that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you have any other thoughts on sort of like your outlook on life now, moving forward or looking back?
Well, among the other things that I've done a lot of, I'm doing a lot of things in my life. And I haven't talked about food.
Mm-hmm.
I've made some dietary changes that aren't difficult. They're not radical. Well, maybe some people would think they were radical, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not. I'm not trying to come up with a perfect diet.
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago, I stopped eating sugar, refined sugar, and stopped eating gluten. And I've lost quite a bit of weight. I'm down to a weight that I haven't been at since I was in my late teens, maybe. And I've gone over the, I initially, when I first started this journey after I retired, I went from a 38 waist to a 34 waist. And then I started to put weight back on, and that's when I decided I needed to do something about my diet. And I'm now down to a 31-inch waist.
Yeah. And so would you say that it's the combination of all of the things that allows you to, keep progressing?
I haven't done, I've very consciously not thought about losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I've seen enough people who focus on losing weight to know that it's a hopeless task. You lose it and then you put it back on, you lose it. It's about developing new habits. So I did it, I did it because I got rid of the sugar and the gluten because I was not feeling very good.
Mm-hmm.
My gut biome was clearly not healthy because I was bloated and gassy and just not feeling very well. And within about 3 months, all of that changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the weight loss was a bonus. The important thing was that I started to feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that feeling better means that I can do everything better.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in my life is better because I feel better, and it all works together. But that was the diet change is an important thing.
So
to answer, maybe better answer your question. I look forward.
Yeah.
I look forward to tomorrow. I'm not saying what I'm necessarily what I'm looking forward to. I just not too long ago, I was talking with a friend and about this, and I said, I need a new mantra. And I decided my mantra from now on is going to be surprise me.
Yeah.
And stop trying to control what happens and just be on the outlook for new things, new friends. I spend a lot of time, as I said before, I like being around younger people. After Karen passed away, I had this house and big yard and living there by myself. I didn't really, I didn't really feel like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sold it and bought a place downtown because I thought, if I'm downtown, I have to interact with people. I have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed that, and it made a difference. And so I'm a part of a neighborhood. I'm surrounded with people, and I know them, and they know me. I have a couple of coffee shops that I'm regular at, and I get to know the people who work there, and because I make a point of it. I have a couple of favorite restaurants, and one I go to often for breakfast when I'm not fasting. And you're in a restaurant, and the wait person always, how is your day? What's your day going to be like? This kind of. And I learned early on to beat them to the punch. I said, how's your day? Because nobody ever asks them that. So I have, it's really cool because I walk in, it's like cheers, hi Norm, hey Norm.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And I like that. I get to know them. I get to know a lot of them are students, so I get to ask them what they're doing. And the other day I was talking to one of them who told me that she was only going to be working weekends. And I said, "Oh, why is that?" She said, "Because I'm going back to school." I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm taking athletic therapy at Camosun."
Mhm.
I said, "That's really cool. My trainer used to be a volleyball coach at Camosun, and yeah, that's really cool." And then I told her that we were going to do this.
Yeah.
So I promised her that I would give her a link. I also promised her an Easter egg. So hi, Jillian.
I love that. That's so awesome. Hi, Jillian.
But it's nice. It's nice to feel connected to young people because it gives me hope. The other thing about hanging around with my age peers is grumble, 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 bike lanes, grumble, grumble, millennials, grumble, grumble. And it's not true. I don't know anybody who works harder than these days than people in their 20s.
Right.
And so I hate to be a Pollyanna, but I am. My life is so rich because of the people in it and the things that I'm willing to do, the efforts that I make, and simply showing up, showing up for life. And that's a cliche, but it's like most cliches that got a kernel of truth in it.
Yes.
I go to coffee with some people who are miserable, and I'm never miserable. I mean, I have bad days. Things, not every surprise is a good one, but I just put one foot in front of the other and take care of it when it comes, and then I get lots of good ones.
Yeah.
And, life is sweet.
Oh, Charles, I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for your time, for doing this. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I think your perspective is so refreshing and so inspiring. And yeah, I hope it touches at least one person,
I talk to people about the importance of things that I'm doing, and they tend to roll their eyes. But what I'm finding is that I'm an example. I don't have to sell it. I just have to be it.
Exactly.
And it's nice to be liked. And I have friends that are closer than any I've ever had. Because my attitude has changed. I'm not feeling everything I do because I want to. that's not necessarily true, but I try and make it true.
Yeah.
And here I am. I told my friend Teresa last January when I turned 75. I'm looking forward to the next quarter of my life. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have new adventures, and
Yeah.
that's once this COVID thing passes.
Yeah. You will, no doubt. No doubt.
Although even in the midst of COVID, I'm having new adventures. So
Yeah.
here we are.
Such a zest. Such a zest. I love it.
And thank
Thank-
you, because you're such a big part of it.
Oh man,
You are.
I'm just happy to have met you and the stars aligned, and it's just been such a pleasure and such a journey. And
But it's
I've-
not over.
it's not over. It's definitely not over. And it's just nice because you're learning from everybody you meet and talk to, and they're also learning from you. So that's what it's about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll share this with the world.
Yeah. Surprise me.
I dare you.